And there are times where I felt I've had to be an advocate for video games. In that, yes, that metal box that connects to my TV and lets me become someone else for a little while, thing that you just called dumb, is actually one of the reasons why I am still here, alive, talking to you right now. So I'm about to go into some depth about how video games, in moderation of course, can be beneficial to your well-being. I'll be using the online game Red Dead Online to illustrate this, and I'll be showing you how the hashtag Save Red Dead Online is actually a positive movement and how it can actually bring people together. But I feel that I just need to make a disclaimer here, for you see, Rockstar, who are the makers of Red Dead Online, are not sponsoring this video. Any opinions on the game expressed are completely and utterly my own. But salad cream boy, you handsome recounter of information, I hear you ask. Well, perceptive viewer, gather round and allow me to illuminate you. Why is it so important? Well, for one thing, escapism. The same reason that you might watch a good movie or TV series. You see, the world that we know it has changed due to
an unspecified virus of unknown origin.
And because of this, the demand for good content to escape to has skyrocketed. And due to the difficulties of filming content due to the situation, it's actually become troublesome to film the blockbusters that we love. Coupled with the fact that Hollywood is constantly trying to push out the message. But I digress. This has led to a massive shift from the big screen or small screen to the gaming console. I guess one of the reasons why it's become so important to me is because living alone, it was pretty much there for me when nothing else was. The thing is, even when I had family around me all of the time, anytime that I had a really difficult situation and I was in despair and it was something that I didn't really have the capability to handle by myself, it just became a problem for them that they didn't want to deal with. And I ended up clocking a lot of hours in my own room by myself, which, I'm not gonna lie, became a bit of a prison for me. I'm not really going to get into that too much here, but if you are interested, then it's actually on a vlog series that I have on this channel called From Anxiety to Now. I'll link that in the description if you want. But needless to say, I couldn't even get my hand on my doorknob. That's not a euphemism. And that happened whenever there were any visitors in the house. And in respect to my friends and anyone I care about, you can't be there 100% of the time for someone. That's where video games came in, which neatly leads me on to So, other than providing a bit of escapism from your real life, video games can actually help you with a lot of other things like your anxiety and your depression. Again, in moderation, I know it has for me. Now, I don't mind telling you that I've been diagnosed with generalized anxiety, which I know can mean anything, but if anyone watching can relate to this, I'm pretty much anxious all of the time, and I do mean all of the time. It doesn't really make any difference whether I'm just stewing in my apartment, out with friends, or just basically keeping busy doing chores and things just to, you know, distract myself. It's a light switch that is permanently turned on, and it's pretty much impossible to turn it off. Especially when it's time to get to sleep. Well, at least I thought I could never turn it off. And that's what I told my doctor and friends and therapy groups, and even my bunny Ghost. That is until I got an Xbox one Christmas. Now, I wouldn't say that this is something that's life-changing or that it solved all of my problems overnight, but it did allow me to flip that switch that I spoke of, if only for a short time. And again, but salad cream boy, you handsome YouTuberist, I hear you ask, how is this any different from just watching a movie or a TV series? Well, imaginary yet complimentary viewer who I use as a prop to prove my point. You see, the difference between playing video games, especially modern open world ones like Red Dead Online, is a much more immersive experience. You're not just watching a story and wishing you're a part of it, you are actually taking part. Whether that be a simple platform game like Super Mario Bros. Or Sonic the Hedgehog, or a massive open world online experience like Red Dead Online or Grand Theft Auto Online. And by the way, Red Dead Redemption 2 story mode, that is an absolute masterpiece. There's actually something for everyone nowadays. Okay, so let's talk about these open world games for a second. And yes, I'm using Red Dead Online as my example, and even if this game doesn't interest you, there are loads of games out there where the principles are pretty much the same. Put simply, there's a different aspect of the game that will cater for different types of players. And to put this in context of mental health, it can help you in the following ways. So maybe you're angry about something and you want to just let off some steam. The bounty roll, especially if you're doing single player, is something where you can just shoot a load of people and you can collect a criminal and claim the bounty. There are different kinds of posse events, which is basically a group of players getting together, and it can be a massive shoot 'em up if you want it to. If you're in a situation where you're just simply bored, or if you're anxious and want to get out of your head for a while, there are roles such as the trader role and the collector role where you're just roaming around collecting stuff and making sales. This involves a lot of time galloping on your horse or riding a wagon, and sometimes even the daily tasks involve riding a train or rowing a boat. The point is that it's allowed me to, if I needed to, just sit down, relax, and just block out the world and just do something mindless, simple and relaxing. There are many times where I've actually just spent a couple of hours just galloping from one end of the map to the other, collecting things like tarot cards, because it was just, peaceful. Another way that Red Dead Online can help you is that if you're stuck, in a small flat like this, whether you're in your own room, or even if you have a big house but you're getting really lonely and you don't want to bother or impose on anyone, or which actually feels worse is that you do try and bother people but they've actually got something else going on all of the time. And yeah, it can feel like torture having a load of friends but not being able to connect with them either, because they do have their own lives or other circumstances like the situation. This is why joining a posse or a group of people online can be really great with connecting with people, because let's be honest, they're more likely to be in the same situation that you are. All you need is a headset to interact with your team, or if you're not that confident yet, you can even just type out what you want on screen to interact with the group. And if you do use a headset, you can even use the one that came with your phone. Just connect it to the controller and away you go. And yes, okay, I won't lie to you, there are going to be a few bad apples out there, but not unlike social media. All you need to really do, if you are really uncomfortable with some people, just block them. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and you won't have to deal with them again, whatever you're comfortable with. And one of the byproducts of interacting with other people in the games is that when you do get round to actually seeing your friends and other people in your life, it's not as awkward or as difficult to talk to people as if you were just stewing in your own space for all the time between now and the last time that you saw them. And it combats just blurting out stuff or just making the odd joke because you're just trying to fill in the space because you haven't seen anyone for a very long time. Another way that gaming can help with your mental health is filtering out things like OCD and intrusive thoughts. Now, I'm not a clinician and I'm not a therapist, I'm just a guy that's been through a few things, so I'm not going to explain the ins and outs of OCD, but to sum it up, the main part of it is that you have a lot of intrusive thoughts. Examples of this can be, if I don't count to 10 before talking to you, something bad might happen. Or, if I don't walk 10 steps and touch the wall, something bad might happen to me, my family, and someone I care about. And I know, that's probably a casual way of looking at it, but when I actually pick up that controller and start gaming, those kind of thoughts are pretty much gone. I'm not thinking about those conversations I had with someone I knew a year ago who I probably don't even know now. And I'm not thinking about an upcoming confrontation or something that might happen at work tomorrow. Yes, okay, I had my wife, my friends, and even my bunny to talk to, but when I grabbed my controller, again, not a euphemism, whatever was going on in my head didn't really seem to matter, and I thought there was something in that. And this leads me on to something else I wanted to talk about. So you might think that as a content creator, I'm a massive extrovert. And you might even think that of your favourite YouTubers, Twitch streamers, and other online celebrities. Sorry, not celebrities, personalities. I gotta tell you, in most instances, including myself, this cannot be further from the truth. I mean, I'll tell you, because of my anxiety, depression, and my fear, with the exception of having to actually physically get to work, I barely left my room until, say, my late 20s, when I actually physically moved out of the house. But even when I moved in with my friends, or even another house share later on, I actually still locked myself away because that's what I knew. It's actually only until when I got in a situation where I was living by myself that I actually gave myself a bit of freedom to move about. I think there's an oxymoron in there somewhere. So my version of socializing would be getting online and going on things like Facebook. In fact, I actually met my wife through someone on Facebook that I met in a Facebook group. And because we bonded through things like Doctor Who, rock music and so forth, we even started to use gaming to connect with each other, even if it was just on our phones. And this is when we weren't chatting to each other or video calling. And the thing is, even in the house share that I mentioned earlier, it's only until I found out that one of the other housemates had an Xbox. So we bonded over things like Red Dead Online and other such games that we could actually talk to each other through. And you know what? That actually gave me the power to defeat my anxiety over the fact that I could actually get out of my own room and do my own damn laundry, for God's sake. Yeah, it was that bad. It was at that point I actually stopped shaking just at the thought of leaving my own room. And this is where I started my journey. To be fair, one that I'm still on, to becoming more comfortable with people who are not in my own social circle. And you know what? With socializing, I'll actually expand that to my YouTube channel. You see, one of the things that connects with OCD and anxiety and things like that is repetition. I will go through things in my head, not just YouTube, but anything from wanting to ask someone a favor, confronting someone, or even a line of dialogue from one of my videos. I'll repeat it about 40 times. And believe me, that's not an exaggeration. Here's the proof.
3, 2, 1.
But salad cream boy you handsome devil. But salad cream boy, you handsome recounter. Anyway, my point is that through gaming and things like YouTube, I started to find my own voice. And a lot of people who may have even known me for years and years and years may not know this, that when I go to see them, I have a lot of pent up energy that I need to get out. So I make jokes and maybe even say things that don't even make a lot of sense just to fill the space because of all that pent up energy that I've been saving up when I'm alone. And the thing is, video games have provided me with that outlet now. And if I want to play alone, then I don't have to join a posse, or I can enter a story mode. Again, Red Dead Redemption 2 story mode, that is the best. And you don't even need to play the first one to get it. And if I was in a situation where I wanted to connect with a lot of other players, there's no shortage every single day of someone sending you a posse request to connect with you. You just put your headset on, click accept, and away you go. Trust me, it's a blast. And due to this, I'm actually starting to feel better in my own skin, especially when I'm going out with people. I'm not just saying stuff to fill the air anymore. So you're always going to have those naysayers in your life that are going to just bring you down for doing the things that you love, like playing video games or making a YouTube channel, etc. You're always going to get those people who are going to tell you, you know, video games, they're just dumb. You need to find something more constructive to do with your time. And the thing is, you know what, I would have to tell them, well, you know, funny story about that. You know those video games and the YouTube channel that you've just criticized? Because of those dumb things, I wouldn't be here today. And yeah, it really has got that dark. And there are times where I felt I've had to be an advocate for video games. In that, yes, that metal box that connects to my TV and lets me become someone else for a little while, thing that you've just called dumb, is actually one of the reasons why I am still here, alive, talking to you right now. And the thing is, I've actually been talking to people on Facebook groups and things like that, and I've actually found people on there who also like things like Red Dead Online or other gaming, where it's actually helped them a lot more too, and we've bonded over that. And the thing is, when you start geeking over something like video games, not only does it start forming a good bond with someone and a human connection, but the whole world starts to wash away because you're starting to focus on something that's really positive in your life, and you really start to get excited about it. And believe it or not, it can actually help the other guy out as much as it's helping you. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention before we get into Save Red Dead Online is, so why do I play games like a kid? Because it actually means something to me. as an adult, I can embrace a feeling that I had as a kid today. Yes, the games today are a lot more advanced, but the feeling is the same. To quote the fourth Doctor from Doctor Who, Tom Baker, what's the point of growing up if you can't be childish sometimes? It's that connection with the past and a simpler time. And then I can compare it with the person that I've become today. I can appreciate the fact that I've been through some tough things and have survived them and have gone on a really good journey, and that today I can derive fulfillment for something as simple as a video game. Now, with all of that said, and if you're still here watching this, and for that I thank you, let's get into the thumbnail of this video. So I think you can agree with me that one of the things that does trigger anxiety and depression and things like that is the fact that there is way too much negativity in the world, and there's just way too much moaning about stuff, and the fact that mob mentality just kicks in way too easily when a lot of people disagree with something. The hashtag Save Red Dead Online is actually the opposite reaction to something that is actually pretty unfair in the game. Red Dead Online has a massive and actually very loyal fan base. Over the last couple of years, Rockstar, who are the makers of the game, have been giving the players or customers, whichever way you want to look at it, less and less in the way of content, in-game bonuses, and more importantly, communication. In fact, other than tweeting about something that they just want the new players to get their wallets out for, there has been pretty much radio silence. There has even been only one DLC update, which is basically a big new content dump throughout the year. There's only been one of them in 2021, where there's usually a spring or summer and a winter one, at least two in the year. So there has been pretty much nothing or very little for the loyal players of the game to sink their teeth into. And even the update that we got in 2021, you couldn't really say it was a major update. It's actually just a little extension to another role. Even the bonuses that we used to get excited about that were coming every week have now been changed to a month. And it's got to the point where everyone, including myself, has got so much in-game money and in-game gold that we don't really have anything to spend it on, so there isn't really any point in gathering anymore, or even taking advantage of all these bonuses that are coming up, which are now becoming less and less. There's really no reason to actually log into the game anymore other than just fulfilling daily tasks or just to gallop around, which I do sometimes just when I'm bored. And I think the straw that really did break the camel's back was the start of these monthly bonuses. And the thing is, the first month of it was over Christmas, where it gave double rewards on pretty much everything that you did, and that was great, but it was mainly just to give the boost to all the new players, not really anyone who's been playing it for a long time. For everyone else, it's just giving you more resources that you've already got so much of that you can't even spend anymore because you've got too much of it. And when the Christmas bonuses ended at the start of January and we found out that this is going to be the new normal, everything's going to last a month before the new thing started, that is what spawned the hashtag. It was basically players saying enough is enough. And I think at the post in this video, it's been about 2 to 3 weeks now and the movement is still going strong. In fact, there's been companies like Axe Body Spray who's been tweeting about this, just literally to get Rockstar to communicate with the fan base, with their customers. But still, there's radio silence. In fact, one of the last things that Rockstar put out on Twitter was actually about something else on GTA Online, or it was something about the Ultimate Edition of Red Dead Online with a load of benefits you can get with the story mode and things like that, and honestly, that got ratioed with this hashtag. They were absolutely annihilated. But here's the thing, the hashtag Save Red Dead Online is not something that's even meant to be negative. There's no ill will towards the actual game, and no one's saying don't play it. It's just a community that wants some communication and some reassurance of what exactly is going on. There is actually so much goodwill with this fanbase and this movement and Save Red Dead Online that I'd actually call it beautiful how it's united the fanbase. And through everything that I've covered in this video, Rockstar, I hope you're watching this and taking some notes. This is one of the most important things about gaming. It brings people together from all the way around the world and forms a bond like no other. It brings some positive focus from all of the darkness in life and just helps tolerate it a little bit easier. And in some cases, and I'm not exaggerating here, it's actually saved lives. So for a product that's done so much good for so many people, all we ask is for that kid who's been locked away in his room, who for one reason or another is having the toughest of times, can you please give them a little hope? Give your loyal customers, your loyal fan base, the respect and the dignity and the thanks that it deserves. Without them, you wouldn't be in business, would you? Do that and the rewards, I guarantee you, will be greater than you can ever imagine, and will follow you to the end of the line. Because it's like I always say, at the end of the day, it gets dark.